Hello, my darlings. I thought we might do something a little bit different today. I thought we might have a chat about the Sims 4 packs. There are so many different packs for the game, and I get asked quite often by friends and from some of you guys as well, what packs are the best ones to get, in my opinion. So I thought we'd sort of touch base and do a little tier listing today so I can show you what I think is worth spending some money on. So I found this tier listing on here, which has almost all of the Sims packs. It goes right up to Country Living, which was the most kind of recentest one I could find. All right, let's make some names for these tier listings. Let's call this one I Want It, I Got It.
I want it, I got it.
I feel like that summarizes it. It's one of those ones where you need to have it in your game. Your game will not be complete without it. My second tier down, I'm going to call this one I Like You Have a Cupcake. I think that's kind of a little bit self-explanatory as well. It's one that I really enjoy having in my game. I don't think it's an absolute necessity if you are limited with your budget, but it's stuff that I really think adds a lot to the game, and I definitely recommend having or at least taking a look at. Next tier we're going to call Alright, and this tier is basically like ones that I wouldn't go out of my way for, but I don't mind. You know, it's just, it is what it is, you know? Next tier down, I'm going to call Meh. The Meh tier is stuff that I'm not really phased by, that I'm not super impressed with, and that doesn't really faze me either way, you know? And finally, this final tier, I'm going to call Save Those Dollars. This is stuff that I personally don't see the value in having or don't own in my game, and I'll sort of explain why a little bit more in depth as we get into the video for each pack that gets categorized here. Also, before we get too started in this, I just want to say as well, there's a lot of good, amazing, incredible free content out there created by custom content creators. And I really think that it is worth looking into that before purchasing any of the stuff in game. Now, I know there's always a risk when it comes to installing mods and things in your game, but honestly, for me, that makes so much difference. I do have a list of all my favorite CC creators linked in the description below if you want to check it out, and I cannot recommend their content enough. Unfortunately, this is only for PC players, so I'm so sorry for any of you on console, but then maybe you will find this tier list even more interesting because you don't have that option available to you, so you kind of have to buy something if you want something new in your game. So maybe this will be more helpful. So I think to get started, let's start with base game, of course.
What?
Oh no, she did not.
Look, I mean, the Sims 4 base game when it came out was a shell of a game. It had nothing. It didn't have toddlers, it didn't have pools, there was so much it was missing, and I hated it when I first played it. But you know what? It's come a long way since then, and the thing is, it's great now, but it was a struggle back in the day. I hated it. I wouldn't play with it. I just stayed with Sims 3 for the longest time. And it's taken a very long time to get where it is now. Where it is now, with all the current patches and everything that's included now, it's definitely worth having. And honestly, to be able to play The Sims, you kind of need base game. So clearly it's I Want It, I Got It. Next, I want to chuck this holiday pack as well. We're going to put this straight into the I Want It, I Got It category because it's free. And who are we to say no to anything free that EA Maxes give us? Because it's very rare, so anything free we appreciate, we stand. So it's got to be in the I Want It, I Got It for sure. Alright, next I'm just going to do these in order from here. So the next one on the list is Get to Work. I was really excited with Get to Work. I think it's really cool that you can go to jobs with your Sims. However, I find the careers can be quite repetitive. The days end up being very same. It is fun to replay in the sense that if you haven't played it for a while, you can come back and you'll enjoy it as much as you did the first time, but then I think you'll get over it quite quickly. There's definitely pros and cons with this one, but I think for that reason, it's going to go in the Solarite category. Next up is Outdoor Retreat. Now, Outdoor Retreat, I think, is a nostalgic one for me because it definitely gives me vibes of like The Sims 1, the vacation, and The Sims 2 Bon Voyage had a vacation world that was similar to like a foresty campgrounds, and so it just reminds me of that, takes me back, and I love doing story-based gameplay and being able to take my Sims out camping into the woods, getting lost, you know, trying to find the hermit's hut. I think that's so much fun. I love it a lot, and I actually really like having this in my game. So, you know, even though it's an oldie, it's a goodie, so definitely deserves a cupcake. Luxury party stuff I don't own, and there's a reason for that. It's $15 Australian to buy a stuff pack, and honestly, for $15 you'd expect to get a decent amount of content. The early stuff packs have very little in them, and I've had a look through the luxury party stuff inventory, and I don't see it worth it. We get very limited items, very limited creator sim. to me, it's not worth the money. Maybe if they do a refresh down the track, but at this stage, definitely save your money on that one. Perfect Patio, I like, but I don't go out of my way to use. I own this pack and I mainly got it for the spa, but now that there's spas in base game that we got in that anniversary celebration update thing a while ago, I don't find myself reaching for anything from this pack in particular. So I think it's meh. It's definitely better than luxury party stuff, but it's still not that impressive in my opinion. Romantic garden stuff, however, I love this pack. I use it so much more than I was expecting to. I think the wishing well is super cute, and I use a lot of plants and greenery and stuff in my builds. So having more options of shrubs and plants and cute things that we can put around the garden for me is really important, because that's how I like to decorate and play my game. So for me, I really like this one, so I definitely think it deserves a cupcake. City living. Oh, I love city living. I'm sorry, it needs to be I want it, I got it. I think that the ideal Sims worlds are all different. Willow Creek is very suburban. Then you've got Oasis Springs, which is like a desert. Newcrest is suburban again. I think it's fun to have a city aspect. It also introduced all those fun festivals like the Romance Festival, the Human Hijinks Festival, which adds so much to your game. I think that it's definitely a worthwhile investment. I love this one. It also comes with the apartments and all of those fun aspects too. So I definitely recommend this pack. I love it. Another pack that you cannot play your game without is Seasons. Seasons adds so much as well. Quite a lot of the build buy stuff is quite nice actually in Seasons. There's a lot of cute Creative Sim outfits as well as some new skills, as well as the fact that you have weather in your game. And I feel like without weather and without the calendar system and without like holidays, there is just so much missing from like a storyteller aspect. I like to play my game with like legacies and storytelling and just investing a lot of time into one family or a few families. And having things like Seasons where they can have Christmas and Easter and like those kinds of things add so much to the game, and it just, to me, the game isn't complete without it. Cats and dogs, I have a slightly controversial opinion on, because I have never been too phased with having pets in the game. That being said, I do feel like the Sims 4 cats and dogs are like the cutest versions of the cats and dogs we've had in the whole franchise. I don't like that we can't control them, but I also understand not being able to control your pets. There is still a lot of flaws in this pack though, such as the fact that the cats and dogs get sick so often. That's really annoying. And they run away a lot as well. That's annoying. I would like to have had some more options with pets. Like, I don't necessarily mean things like horses from The Sims 3, but even just like the guinea pigs and stuff like that, that would have been fun, and we got that kind of stuff in The Sims 2. The main reason I bought this pack, I won't lie, is because I love Brindleton Bay. It's a beautiful world. It's stunning. It's like a coastal, suburban kind of area. I love it. And I think the biggest exciting part of the gameplay for me that got introduced with this pack is being a vet. I think being a vet is so cool. I really like the idea of owning your own little vet clinic, so that's why I bought it. The build, buy, and creative sim for this pack though is pretty good, so I am going to put it in the Solrite category just because I wouldn't go out of my way to buy it again, but I do enjoy having it in the game. Cool Kitchen is pretty cool, as the name suggests. Like, I like having the different options of counters and fridges and stoves, but I do find it a little bit limiting. I don't use it all the time. I like the things like the ice cream machine and stuff. I think that that's awesome. But again, I don't use it all that much. I think just for that reason alone, it's going to go in the meh category. Parenthood, top tier, chef's kiss, love it. It needs to be. I want it, I got it. I honestly don't think I would enjoy playing with toddlers and kids as much without this pack. It adds just so much depth and dynamic to your Sims growing up, and how things in their life as they grow up influences the Sims that they become. I really love it. I think it's so cool. It comes with so much nice stuff. I definitely recommend it. My first pet stuff is the easiest save those dollars I think I'll ever do. That pack is just a cop-out. That stuff should have been included with cats and dogs. Maybe it wasn't ready for the expansion when they decided to release it, or maybe they just wanted to make another quick buck off of us. Either way, I just, nah. Don't even touch it, fam. Trust me. Unless you have an absolutely ridiculous desire to have rodents in your game, steer clear. I actually really like bowling night. I think because it gives us Sims something extra to do. I'm always looking for like family activities and friend activities that you can go out and get your Sims to do. I think it breaks up your regular gameplay quite a lot. That being said, I kind of hate taking my Sims bowling because it takes them like 12 hours and they haven't even finished a game yet. And they'll just stand there for ages, nobody bowling. As soon, you know, there's just flaws like that that really grind my gears. And because of that, it needs to just go in the Sorite category. It was a letdown because it would have definitely been in the cupcake category had it followed through with the gameplay. Kids room stuff, like, again, it's alright. I just want to remind y'all that there's some great custom content out there. But for those of you who can't get custom content, I think this is a good way of expanding the decorations and things that you can do in your kids' rooms. I definitely do use the items that come with this pack, but I definitely use custom content more. Backyard stuff, I don't really use. The slip and slide was the main exciting component for me, and even then, I feel like that probably should have come with seasons. So yeah, I don't really use it. I definitely don't feel like it's one I'd go out of my way to purchase again. Vintage Glamour is another one of the few packs I don't own and I don't have any interest in owning. The only thing that I find interesting about this pack would be the butler system, but even that in itself is quite flawed. I've seen a lot of people play with the butlers on Twitch and on YouTube just for the butlers to not do what they're told and to just be annoying and sleep wherever they want, and just, it seems problematic and I'd rather not have it in my game. So in my opinion, save the money. Spa Day, I wish I used more because I feel like there's a lot of fun, cool aspects to the pack. I really like the wellness skill edition, and since the refresh, I love all the new aspirations and stuff that come with the pack. I think it's quite sad that nails came in a base game update rather than in this pack refresh, because that would have taken that to the top tier for me, because I love having nails in the game. I really do. I think it's so much fun getting your nails painted and stuff like that, but now that they've been added to base game, it just kind of feels like it's not necessary when I can just go into Create a Sim and put them on my Sims instead of going to the salon and paying like $50, you know? So I don't know, like, it's alright, but again, I wouldn't go out of my way for it, I don't think. I think I'd survive without it. Spooky stuff, I wouldn't use, so I don't own it, because like the only time I think I'd use that stuff is when there was Halloween in my game, and I don't really play that much with Halloween in my game. Yeah, I don't know, I just wouldn't use that stuff, so I've had no desire to purchase that pack. Dine out is a tough one. I absolutely love eating out at restaurants and cafes with your sim. There's something about it, going on cute little dinner dates. I love that so much. In the storytelling aspect, I love it. I also love the idea of owning a restaurant and like keeping your customers happy, and that gameplay for me is everything. I love that gameplay. But that being said, this pack is so glitchy, it's virtually impossible to eat out with your Sims. They'll just keep getting up all the time from their tables. Takes you hours to get served, hours to get your food. And just the fact that when you run a restaurant as well, you can't actually be the chef. You have to allocate chefs and stuff. Just so disappointing. But even with all those glitchiness and disappointments in mind, I don't think I could play my game without it. It's a must-have for me. Despite all the flaws, I just wish that they would patch this already. It's been years. Please, EA Maxis, patch this, please. Vampires is a tough one because I don't really care a lot about the occult Sims, which can be a bit controversial, but I know some people really do. I think if you're willing to make the time and effort with this pack, you're going to love it. But for me, I preferred the cheesy, corny vampires from The Sims 2 that didn't need a lot of effort, to be honest. I'll be quite honest with you guys. The main reason I have this in my game is because the occult Sims are double babies and 100 baby challenge. So I mainly did it to try and make that challenge a little bit easier on myself. So honestly, for that reason, I'm going to pull it in Solarite. Fitness stuff I purchased and I don't really use at all. I think the rock climbing wall is really cool, but I definitely don't use it. I definitely think I would have been fine without it, to be quite honest. There's some good build by, like in terms of the bathrooms really nice and stuff like that, but that's pretty much it. So I honestly would probably say to save your money with this one, fam. Yeah. Toddlers deserve so much more in this game than what they get. So when we get an opportunity to have extra toddler stuff, I am going to take it. Toddler stuff, I love. There's a lot of custom content toddler stuff that I adore, but a lot of the meshes, which is the original patterns and designs for the shape on your Sims, come from this pack. So that's why I bought it, was to mainly get the cute custom content designs. However, there are some really adorable outfits that do come with this pack that I do use quite often. I like the idea of toddler playdates, even though I've never done one. But the thing that lets me down with the build buy stuff is just how big the objects are. They're so freaking big. I wish that they'd refined those a little bit more, gave them a little bit more detail, and I think that would have made all the difference. But that being said, I still really like this one, and I think it's a worthwhile investment. Jungle Adventure I have in my game because I like the idea of it, because it reminded me of the Sims 3 World Adventures. But the difference with Jungle Adventure is it's just the same map and puzzle over and over again. Like, I know that the tombs and stuff that you go through change, so it does have some replayability factor, but it doesn't have a lot. And for me, Salvadorada isn't a massive appealing like vacation world either. I'd much rather see my Sims go to Solani from Island Living, or the outdoor retreat world that I've forgotten the name of. So, I mean, I'm not really fazed by this one, and I think it's a little bit of a letdown, to be quite honest. Realm of Magic, again, not a big occult sim person, but there's good things and bad things about this. Like, I think that the world and stuff that came with Realm of Magic, like the realm itself, is cool, but it could have been better. I think that the spellcasting skill and the unlocking of things so you can learn more, I think that that whole aspect is really cool. If you like wizards and witches and that kind of thing, you're gonna love this pack. But for me, it's okay. It's not one that I'd massively jump to purchase again, but I don't mind it. Laundry day stuff is a bit of a challenging one for me, because I like the idea of my Sims doing mundane tasks like laundry, but then as soon as I put a washing machine on their lot, I hate it. Maybe that is because I mainly play with my 100 baby household, so they just would never be able to keep up with washing, so I don't even test it. But I like the idea of it, and this one actually comes with some really nice Creator Sim stuff, which is surprising. It also comes with some really good build and buy objects. Despite the fact I don't use the washing machine aspect, I still really like this pack, so I definitely think it's worth considering. Movie Hangout is a solid yes from me. I love the build and buy, and I think it has a nostalgic feel to it. The movies that you can watch are like little mini movies that they've made using The Sims 3, and I love it. I think it's so cool. I think the little popcorn machine's a bit of fun. It's got actually some decent Creator Sim as well. So I really like it, and I would purchase it again, to be quite honest. So I definitely think it's worthwhile looking into. Island Living, I was so excited for. The trailer looked incredible. I was so excited, but then I was a little bit let down, I'm not going to lie. I think my biggest thing is we're missing aspects that we did have in previous games. Again, I said I wouldn't dwell on this, but I can't help but think about how much cooler this expansion would have been with houseboats and like resorts and owning your own resort. How cool would that have been? That would have made this a top tier must have for me if it had those aspects. We do have mermaids, they are a little bit limited, but the world of Solani itself is gorgeous, and I love being able to take my Sims there for a little getaway. But that's pretty much where it ends for me, is just the world itself. That's what made it a worthwhile purchase for me. So I honestly feel like it's a I like you have a cupcake, because I think I would purchase this again, but I do still have my disappointments. Actually, I'm going to change this to the Sorite category, because there's a few more coming up that definitely deserve the cupcake more than just the word of Solani. I'm sorry. Sorry, Island Living. Eco Lifestyle is one of them. I actually really like that pack. I was very surprised that I liked it so much, because the idea of it in the trailer, I was like, eh. But it's actually really cool. Like, I like that the world changes and gets better and evolves. It is only, obviously, Evergreen Harbour that does this. I think it would have been really cool if they'd introduced those aspects into the other neighbourhoods, but I understand why they don't as well. The neighbourhood action plan side of thing can be annoying, but it can also be really fun for your game too, and you can turn it off if you don't want to use it, so I like that that option is included. The build and buy though for this pack is chef's kiss, incredible. I love it, and I use that stuff in every build that I make, so yeah, definitely recommend. And I think it's fun that you're able to craft new objects and do all that kind of stuff, and dumpster diving, I missed that so much, so yeah, definitely worth looking into, and I think I really like it. Get Together I'm disappointed by. I think the main thing is the world of Windenburg doesn't really faze me. It's not a world that I have actually ever played in or really have any desire to play in. And I think just the club system has quite a few flaws, and considering that's the main aspect of the pack is the new world and the clubs, I struggle to see the benefit of owning this pack, to be quite honest. Like, don't get me wrong, there's some good stuff. Like, I like that there's some clubs now and some DJ booths and stuff, and there is some decent creator sim, but overall, I was quite let down by this one, so it's gonna be a meh from me. Now, I'm going to leave the kits till last, so I'm going to move on to the next one, which is cottage living. I was pleasantly surprised by this because I never thought that I'd want farming in the game or any kind of farm aspects, but after playing a bit with Ainsley and making a cottage and the Handful and Bagley stuff, I really like it. I think it's so sweet. It's a close-knit community. The English countryside vibes just reminds me of the nostalgia of being a kid. I live close to the hills in my state, so kind of reminds me of the countryside, like, out there. And I think it's so cute to have little chickens, and the cows and the llamas are so adorable. They're high maintenance and bloody annoying, but my god, they're cute. And the build, buy, and create a sim stuff from this pack is incredible. I love it. So yeah, I want it, I got it. Excuse me, I want it, I got it. Thank you. Discover University, I know, was never going to be one that I loved, mainly because I loved The Sims 2 University so much, and then The Sims 3 was like a letdown. And for me, this one's a letdown again. There's, as I said, good aspects. I like the creator sim. The just annoying part is it takes such a long time to complete university. Like, half or more of your young adult lifespan on a normal life to complete university. If you're playing the game on short lifespan, you would live and die at university and probably only just finish your degree. It's definitely a hard game to play. They didn't make it easy, and I think that that's good in a sense. But it's also very exhausting. Your sim gets so tired so quickly, and just getting from one class to another on some of those campuses takes so long. There's definitely pros and cons, and to be honest, I don't feel like I'd go out of my way to buy it again. Now for the one you've all been waiting for, Journey to Batuu. I like Star Wars, so I like the pack. I'm just going to say to you right now, if you do not like Star Wars, you will not like this pack. It's as simple as that. I really like Star Wars, and I was so excited when I saw the trailer to this one. I think the biggest letdown is that a lot of the world is shells. The shell being an outside of a building that you cannot go inside or do anything with. It just exists purely to look good. Another thing that upsets me with this one is the amount of rabbit holes. I understand why they did this. It'd be very difficult to animate certain aspects of the pack, such as going off into space and stuff, but having lots of rabbit holes is very exhausting very quickly, and you start relying a lot on your imagination to tell you the story. I really think the lightsaber aspect is cool. Having your drone is cool. I like the food. Like, there's definitely some fun aspects to this pack though as well. And I love that it is separate from the main game, so it's not going to disrupt your regular gameplay. It definitely can be replayed as well. Like, I've only, for example, played the First Order missions. I haven't done the Resistance or the Scavenger missions, I think it is. So there's definitely, like, I definitely want to go back in and do those. And I feel like after, you know, a certain amount of time has passed, just like with Get to Work, you'd want to go back and play it again if you like Star Wars. I cannot stress that enough. So if you don't like Star Wars, don't bother. But if you do like Star Wars, you'll probably like it. Next up, Dream Home Decorator. I think it's a little bit of a cop-out to have an entire pack based on one career. Like, especially when, for Australians, that's 30 Australian dollars. Like, that's a lot for just a new career and a few objects and stuff. Like, but that being said, I love the objects that come with this. I use it every build I do now. Same with the Creator Sim stuff is really nice. So, but the build buy is definitely the focus, and yeah, I use that stuff all the freaking time. Primary focus of this pack is the career, and then the career is so glitchy is a bit of a cop-out as well. So, I don't know, you take the good with the bad. I definitely think I'd buy it again because I use the stuff so often. It's going to be one of those things that's based on personal preference, because if you don't like the style of the items that are included in this pack, then you're not going to use it at all, and that's that. Paranormal stuff, I was very surprised by. I loved this pack. It comes with so much. When you compare this pack to ones down in the Save Your Money tier, this has got so much. You have a career, you've got new skills, you've got new aspirations, new creator sim, new build buy. Comes with so much for the price, and it's new lot traits, everything. It's awesome. I cannot speak highly of it enough. Honestly, for me, I didn't think that I was going to buy this when I saw the trailer for it, but I bought it and I have no regrets. I love it. So I definitely put it up in top tier. Like, yes, I could play without it, but I definitely think it's worth looking into, guys. Like, I love it. Snowy Escape. holds a special place in my heart because I love Japan so, so much. Like, I've been there several times, like in the real world before the pandemic. And I can't wait to go back once the pandemic's over. And this world is obviously based in Japan. So, like, that culture, that look, that vibe, just, it's something special to me. I think it also reminds me a lot of The Sims 1. There was this cool snowboarding thing that I'll include a clip or picture of. I loved that so much. And like bringing back the skiing and the snowboarding, like it just brings back so many memories for me. So that made me so happy as well. And I definitely use this as a vacation world, probably more than a residential world. But I love the idea that you can use it as both. I think that's so cool. And the world itself is so beautiful. So for me personally, it's a I want it, I got it. Admittedly, I don't play with this pack every time I load the game either, but I love having it there. Like, I think that it adds a lot to the game. Strangerville, I love as well. I really like it. I think that the world itself of Strangerville is beautiful. I literally played the entire first generation of my 100 Baby series there. I love it there. I think it's beautiful. I think it's a lot nicer desert world than Oasis Springs, no offense. I think it's fun that the Sims are possessed. It's something different. It's something they've never done before. And I love that the story of trying to work out the mystery and, you know, having to sink your teeth into it. Replayability, I think it's one of those things, again, like Get to Work, where you'll step away, you won't touch it for maybe a year or two, and then you'll be like, yep, I'm ready to do it again. And you will replay it, and you will enjoy it a second time as well. It's never going to have the same wow factor the second time around than it does the first time. But that being said, I still love this pack, and I would still definitely buy it again. So, yep. It deserves a cupcake, fam. It deserves a cupcake. I was so disappointed with Get Famous. It looks so great from the trailer, but the world of Del Sol Valley is so small. There's not very many lots. And I think something that upset me as well is that the focus of Get Famous is mainly on the acting career. What about the other professions that you can get famous from, like music? There is a few music aspects on there, but it's so hard to get famous being a musician. When you're an actor, you just go to a few gigs and suddenly you're rising to fame. Whereas when you're a musician, it's such a grind, and it can be fun to do that sometimes because it's a grind, but it's also just a little bit exhausting and a bit disappointing. The build buy mode stuff from this pack I don't particularly love either, and the actual builds that came with this world are ugly. I'm sorry, they're awful. For me, it's very meh. Big disappointment for me, fam. Big letdown. Moschino stuff, I'm extremely pleasantly surprised with. Comes with a career, actually comes with some nice stuff. That photo booth thing I love so, so much. You see me use that every episode virtually of my 100 Baby challenge. So I actually really like it and would probably buy it again because I use those features quite a lot. Nifty knitting. Oh, yes. Top tier. Chef's kiss. Love it. Which is surprising because, again, it was one of those things I was like, really? A whole pack about knitting when it got announced? But then it's so wholesome. You can knit so much stuff. So many pot plants, and the hanging plants are so pretty, and it was something we were lacking so much in the game. We can actually make onesies for our babies. It's freaking amazing. And like the rocking chairs and seeing your little nanas knit and teaching the younger generations to knit, it's fun. And I love Plopsy as well. Plopsy is so much fun. That little side hustle of selling your little bits and pieces online, I love it, and I definitely think it was worth the money, and I'd buy it again in a heartbeat. I have the exact same thing to say about Tiny Living. I love this pack, and it comes with some amazing build buy. I think it's extremely fun being able to have benefits of living in a tiny house. I actually prefer living in a tiny house, so having the benefits of living in a tiny house is amazing. Your skills just go up insanely, and your Sims are so much more happier, and it's just a fun gameplay thing. Like, let's see how physically small I can make this house so it still functions. That kind of thing is so much fun to me, and yeah, I really love it. And the Murphy beds are back. I miss the Murphy beds. I'm terrified to use them in my game, but I definitely missed having them there nonetheless. So 100% must have for me. And now we get to kits. This one's only got the 4 kits, but we've obviously had more come out since then. So I'm going to just quickly run through these ones. So Oasis, the Oasis Garden, Oasis Courtyard kit, or whatever it's called. I don't really care a lot about because I don't really focus a lot on building. And when I do build, it's mainly very normal residential practical builds for my families, so I wouldn't use the items in this pack, which is why I haven't purchased it. And again, there's a lot of custom content out there that's free, that's similar or even better. Bust the dust. I love the idea of this. I think it's so fun to be able to vacuum your house. I kind of love the mundane chores, but this system is quite glitchy, like the fact that dust accumulates so quickly, and then the dust bunnies give you $10,000 gold frogs. It's a bit ridiculous. So I haven't purchased it, and for like $8 or $9 Australian or whatever it is, I don't think I'd use it enough to make it worthwhile for me personally, but I like the idea of it, which is why it's going in there. Country kitchen kit. I feel like this stuff probably really should have come with cottage living, but it was almost like a teaser or a taster, I think, to see how we'd all react. I actually quite like this one. I use this stuff quite a bit, so I was going to go on Sorite because, again, I don't really know if it was worth the $9 or whatever that I spent on it, but I do use it and I do like it. Okay, finally on this tier listing is the Throwback Fit Kit. I did buy this because I needed the meshes. Again, I don't overly use it now that I have it in the game, so I don't know if I'd purchase it again. I think you should probably save your money. It is a bit of fun, but it's not for me personally. And I think just with the kits, they are a little bit of a cash grab, but it's kind of nice to get a few things that you might want in the game without having to dedicate $50 or whatever to an entire expansion pack just to get a few items that you're keen on. So there's pros and cons to it. The new ones, the Arrivals kit and the other one, I don't remember the names, I probably won't be purchasing. I really like my custom content when it comes to Creative Sim in particular, so I don't think it'd be worth it for me. But yeah, and the same goes for the Industrial Loft kit that really feels like it should have come with City Living where we got apartments, but I probably wouldn't use that stuff, and if I did, I'd probably try and find some custom content rather than spending the money. But yeah guys, this is my final tier listing. I hope this video was somewhat helpful to you for making a decision with what you might be interested in purchasing as your next expansion. I just want to once again remind everyone that this is my opinions based on how I enjoy to play the game, so each to their own. Just because I love something doesn't mean that you will as well. But this is an honest opinion of what I would be spending my money on if I had to do it again. I would love to know what you guys classify as your must-have packs. Do they differ from mine? So let me know in the comments below which packs are your favorites, which ones were a biggest letdown for you that you wouldn't purchase again, and what you'd love to see in the game in the future. I'd be really interested to hear that. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in another video. You take care. Dag dag.